What is going on, folks? In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys why I don't use cash or debit cards or Bitcoin or checks. There's a number of different reasons, but I also want to say that I don't want to write off debit cards or cash completely. They do have some value, and they definitely do have some good utility for certain people. And obviously, with so many different ways to just live your life, there's really no just one size fits all approach for everybody, especially when it comes to money. So with that, let's first jump into the reasons why I think debit cards and cash are good. And the first reason why is that if you're using a debit card, for me, in the past, I've noticed this too, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to go into debt and spend more than you normally would. Because, odds are you're super aware of how much you have in your debit card. How much you have in your bank account, because it's directly linked, right? And when I'm buying things with a debit card, and when I buy things with credit, I definitely tend to lose track of where my balance is at. It's so easy to swipe. It's so easy to just check at the end of the month. And another quick reason to use a debit card is really there's no application process. If you have a bank account, you have pretty much by default are going to have a debit card to go along with your bank account. So super easy to get, and you're very aware of how much money you have. Similar to cash as well, you're gonna be really, really aware. So now let's jump into the top 5 reasons why I, for the most part, really only use credit cards. So the first reason is that when you use anything other than a credit card, like a debit or cash, you're not getting any rewards. So when you use a debit card or cash, you're gonna get what you pay for, and that's it. But if you use a credit card, you can earn rewards, which can usually be put towards cash back, free flights, hotels, different perks. And this is pretty incredible, because say you're not only going to be buying whatever it is you're ordering from Amazon or whatever you're getting at the grocery store, but you're literally going to be getting free money back, or even a free vacation, or something even crazier. And trust me when I talk about this, because I've seen the power of using debit cards versus credit cards firsthand when it comes to getting a ton of different free things and rewards and putting those to use. So to give you guys a quick story, I never really used to travel before using credit cards, because I never really could justify paying for the expensive flights and all the costs that come along with travel, even though I really, really wanted to. But as soon as I learned that you could basically earn free vacations from spending money you're already going to spend by using credit instead of debit, I was all over it. And I'm not gonna go into every detail here. I have a couple of videos showing you guys how I fly to Hawaii regularly for free, under $20 round trip. I currently live here now, but I've been doing these trips forever for under 20 bucks. How I actually bought this camera that I'm using to shoot this video on right now, my Sony A7 Mark III. And when I bought this camera, I used the rewards I got from purchasing that to go to Medellin, Colombia for free. And that was absolutely amazing. So, you guys, there's a ton of power. I'm not gonna do it now. Check out this channel, learn more. But reason 2 and 3 is that if you lose your wallet, you're gonna lose, your cash in it and your debit card. And most likely that cash is never going to be returned to you. It's gone. There's no chance of getting it back unless you meet like the coolest person ever who returns your who returns your wallet in full. And lastly, if you lose your debit card, you might get hacked. And if that happens because the money is directly attached to your bank account, banks are not going to care as much to help you get them back, because it's quite literally your money. And as terrible as that sounds, because it's your money and not the bank's, it's really not that much of a concern to them. Whereas with a credit card, if it's used, it's technically the bank's money that you're borrowing and you have to pay back. And because it's very easy, to have your money reimbursed if you do have your credit card hacked and used by somebody else, it really doesn't take much for banks to step in and get you a reimbursement, because it's their money. They don't want that money to just disappear. So for example, in 2019, I bought tickets for a conference for March 2020, but obviously with COVID-19 and the global pandemic and everything that came along with it, the conference ended up getting canceled. And I actually emailed this vendor, I think it was at least 3 to 5 times for a refund, just asking, hey, this is canceled, can I have a refund? And they ghosted every single time. So I called up American Express and I told them what happened, and they issued a refund for the purchase that I made 1 year ago. 1 year ago. How crazy is that? Within 24 hours. And I recommend that you try to, get a debit card purchase refunded, even if you made the purchase, say last week and the product didn't work. It's pretty amazing the amount of price protection and perks that come with banks looking after you and having your best interest when it comes to credit, because it's their money and not technically yours. The third reason is there's no overdraft fees. But on the flip side, I want to say credit cards do come with arguably the highest fees of them all, especially if you let your spending get out of hand. And these fees are going to be interest fees. But again, you're never going to be dinged for spending more than the balance you have in your checking, which would happen if you did that with your debit card, right? If you spend more than your checking, you're probably gonna get a $34 fee. There's really no way to get that back. But I do wanna say it is very possible, and a lot of people pay high fees for spending too much and having interest payments that are getting out of hand in the long run, which could be higher than overdraft fees. But again, there's no penalty when it comes to overdraft fees and credit cards. And obviously there are other fees that come with credit cards, but if you spend some time doing your research and you know how to properly play the game and leverage credit cards, you can most likely get out of these fees. And two fees that I consistently get out of are annual fees and late fees in the case that they do occur. I'm not going to get into them right now, but if you do want to check out, I do have videos on my channel that I'll link in the description as well on how to get out of both annual fees and late fees. Really, almost, with just a quick and easy phone call and show you exactly how to do that. And the last and arguably most important reason to use a credit card versus any other form of payment is that using a credit card is going to build your credit. And having a good and established credit is just a very important thing in life. I don't want to say it's like important thing in life, like health, wealth, family, but when it comes to the financial aspect of your life, it's very important. Having good credit when you make a large purchase could mean that you end up saving thousands and thousands of dollars in interest on that purchase if you have established credit and good credit, as opposed to having a poor or not established score. Also, there are a number of different applications and different things in life that may ask you for your credit score to see if you're eligible for them. Two quick examples that come to mind are, say you're applying for housing, you want to rent, or certain jobs that maybe have to do with finance or banking. It's not uncommon that you're going to be asked for your credit score. So you don't want it to be one of those things in your life that's just holding you back because you never got around to dealing with it when there's so much information out there and it just requires little action on your part. So those are a few reasons why I recommend that the majority of people use credit cards. But I do want to say, with one huge caveat to credit cards, because they are so easy to use. They're very easy to spend out of control with, and I'd be lying if I said that at certain points in my life, I wasn't, in my fair share of credit card debt and getting taxed with those interest fees every single month. But at the same time, you do go into credit card debt, maybe to grow yourself, maybe by buying a course or an investment in something, that's actually going to benefit you, that's not necessarily a bad move either, because it's getting you access to more capital than you normally would. So if you're using it to invest in yourself, honestly, I support it. But just make sure if you do go into credit card debt, it's for the right purchases, and it's not purchases that aren't going to help you at all, like Gucci shoes, designer clothes, partying, bottles, whatever, any nonsense like that. I'm not going to go into what's a good investment, what's a bad investment. Odds are, if you're watching this video, you're smart. You probably know what you should and shouldn't be going into debt doing. If you are considering opening up a credit card, I recommend that you watch my video on the first 3 things that you need to do when you open up a credit card to make sure that you're not suffering from any of the traps or falling for any of the traps that credit card companies set for you, and you're getting the most value. So with that, if you found value in this video, I would definitely appreciate it if you could drop a like, because it helps me determine how this content is received and if I should be making more content like this. It also helps out the channel a lot, so I'd be super appreciative of that. And lastly, I want to say that I talk about credit a lot on this channel and also on my personal site, eatslowrobinson.com, as well as other things that I'm into. So if you want to learn more about me, learn how to fix your credit score, how to get out of fees and cash in on a crazy amount of rewards, definitely hit that subscribe button and check out my site where you can opt into my private email list there, where I offer a ton of value that I'm not showing anywhere else. So with that, I'll see you guys soon. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing what you do and accomplish with your credit. Cheers.